Good evening. You're flying with Pod Squadron podcast. All wings report in. This is Andy Pod Job standing by.
This is Tracy Pod Tracer standing by.
This is Lexi Pod May standing by.
All ships to attack formation. Mission objectives to talk about Star Wars in movies, streaming, animation, books, themed experiences, and your art and inspiration from a galaxy far, far away. Today's flight plan includes, welcome back. We're back here. It's been a while, and we're back on back in business, and we're in business. Happy New Year, because the Bad Batch has returned. That's right, the final season, Bad Batch season 3, has begun and been going, and there's stuff to talk about here. But of course, first of all, we want to thank all of you out there for joining us here on Monday night. All comm channels are open. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Find us on YouTube, like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you know when we have new content. But first, I'll be your squad leader for today. I'm Andy Lowe, aka the Chinese Pirate, director, storyteller, puppeteer, performer, and fight choreographer. On my wing is Tracy.
Hi, I'm Tracy, hot nerd girl. Whatever. I do things, whatever.
And on my other wing is Lexi.
Oh wow, yeah, same though. Same. Like I don't know. What am I doing right now? I don't know. I'm doing something.
I'm up in the air. What sticks to the wall?
Yes, so it's just the
What is
shotgun
anything?
approach.
Yes.
Huh.
Of course, we are just one squad in the fleet. We're part of the Geekish Network. That's right here on YouTube and on Facebook. You can look up the Geekish Network on all the different platforms. Yeah, so S foils to attack position. We're gonna go in. Hi guys.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hi. It's been a while.
Yeah,
I forgot to do my mouth warm up, so I want to be like.
feels like I haven't seen you guys this last year.
I
Oh.
know, right?
Oh,
What you guys been up to?
but
Anything fun to report?
yeah, I finally got to see the Empire Strips Back.
All right on.
Yeah,
Where
yeah.
was that?
That was in Denver at a venue I actually hadn't been to before. There's so many little cool like venues just tucked around Denver. This one had like, free parking and like really cool modular space. I wish I could remember what it's called, but the show, the production quality was really great, and the dancers were very talented. And it was funny. I screamed so hard I lost my voice. I don't regret that at all. Um, I flirted with the MC and I was loud enough that he flirted back. So that was kind of cool. Um,
Was it Lando Calrissian's son?
yeah, or his cousin. I don't remember which.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
remember
right.
which
Like
one this
cousin.
guy called it. I don't remember which one he called himself. I was like, you still got the family charm.
Oh yeah.
Like he like giggled and like called, but I was like, oh wait, he heard me. I'm loud.
Wait, was it a guy who's like really tall and thin?
Uh, look, everybody looks tall to me. I'm short and
Oh.
he was on stage. I'm short and he was on stage. He had glasses though.
Oh, I'm trying to remember if the guy had glasses. I saw it
Um,
like almost exactly a year ago today, just over a year ago today.
but yeah, I was supposed to go on like the week before, and several things converged, and like we had to give the tickets away, and we ended up getting a new set of tickets, and we brought our own lightsabers. Um, and yeah, that was such a good show. That was such a good show. I've been wanting to see it for a while, and
If you need a fun night out, to highly
yeah,
recommend.
it's worth it. It's 100% worth it. Um,
Are they continuing the tour? Do you know where they're headed next, perchance?
you know what? I don't off the top of my head, but I'll look it up while we continue, and I'll
Right on.
touch back on that. Because it's definitely worth seeing to if it's coming to a
To a
city near
town near
you.
you.
So
Oh.
worth it.
I swear I didn't touch anything. Nothing. You were watching me.
I don't think it's a proper Pod Squadron episode unless we lose Tracy for a minute.
Yes.
So
Tracy falls into the blackness, into the black hole.
Seriously. Well, I had
Um,
my laptop died. I'm using a jerry-rigged laptop.
you know, there's a lot of like various, you know, Star Wars news we can talk about really quickly as we stall. Oh, she's back.
Huh?
yeah.
Um, have, have you guys been following any of the drama in the video game realm at all?
I've not, but I would love to hear.
Um, Apparently there have been a whole mass of like layoffs um from I believe at EA games and it
Oh,
was
I
kind
did
of
hear about that.
yeah it's a lot of people losing their jobs and it ended up canceling some kind of bounty hunter focused game that they had previously announced and have now said is now off the docket. People are asking around about the Star Wars Outlaws game that they were hyping up quite a bit, and apparently that is still on the table. And I think EA Games have been saying that their Star Wars strategy game is still happening, but yeah, there's apparently been a lot of upheaval as let's see here, like roughly around 670 employees were laid off, and that's just at EA. Apparently, there were other layoffs at Sony and some of the other studios. Just a
Do we
whole.
know why? Did I miss that
I
part?
don't know actually. I don't know enough about the industry to know what this was about. But yeah, but I have heard rumblings that it is industry wide. Um, let's see here. Rodney has a note in the notes that I can't see yet. A ton of layoffs across a lot of tech sectors. So it might be just tech industry overall. Not really sure
I
what.
I have heard that about the tech industry going through layoffs. I've got a friend who's a remote grant writer, and she's got friends who do, remote tech jobs, and said that they dealt with a lot of layoffs over the past year. Didn't really
I mean,
that no more detail, but I've also been hearing about that. So I
I
don't
mean,
know.
and I wonder, right? I mean, if it's just reactions to advances in AI, because I feel like there's always a new announcement of what AI is able to do every week. But I mean,
So are
yeah,
all the video game characters going to have 6 fingers?
You
yeah.
know, like AI art, like it reminds me of like a not fun version of oh God, what's his name? The guys who does Simpsons drawings that I gone and done, like one of the Simpsons
Oh,
artists.
Matt Groening.
No, I don't think it's that. He's one of the artists, but not like a creator.
Mm.
He was one of the studio artists, but he does this Facebook page called Simpsons Pictures that I gone and done. Um, I got it. Yeah, his name is one of the artists whose his name was Chris. Um, but he does like these really bizarre cartoons, and like since before AI came out, and his people always have like nightmare hands. And so that was like, yeah, I'll have to send you guys some stuff. It's just weirder and weirder the more you look at it. And he writes this, his humor is out there, and I love it.
Let's see
Well,
here. What else is
hopefully
up?
they all find different jobs.
Yeah, indeed. Um,
Hope
yes,
so.
if you are out there in the world in the video game industry, um, you know, stay strong out there. We're looking out for you. Um, whatever we can. And we appreciate your work. And that's the main thing, right? Is that we're all here talking about these various franchises because of the creatives that come up with the ideas and create the content. Um,
Well, how
and
often do
it's
we talk about like characters in the like even in Bad Batch where it's like, oh, we saw that creature, but it was in one
yeah,
of the Star Wars video games,
Yeah.
right.
right?
Do they have a union?
No, there's been
I
talk.
hope,
There's always talk, but the
I
problem
hope they
is that
can
so much of
unionize.
it is independent contractor work. So they basically get laid off as soon as a game releases. It's a rough world.
It's
It's
rough.
it's
Very, very
both
rough.
video game and the FX world. It's
Photography, a lot of, I
yeah.
mean, stalker photography is on its way out because of AI.
Mhm.
So good
But
times.
yeah, yeah. Well, we'll see. On the other fronts of Star Wars, there have been a number of other little announcements. That Star Wars Acolyte is getting through its production. So that's going into post. There is also a lot of talk about the new Mandalorian and Grogu movie,
That's
which
filming in California.
yeah, filming
Yeah.
in California. The state of California announced like a 21 million. Is that right? A
Tax
20
break.
yeah, a 21 million tax break that they will get re- rebated back to the production.
Where do
Um,
they
um,
normally film Mandalorian?
I mean, I think well, okay, it's because they it's television production versus film production. I think the film production has a different level of tax breaks
Mm.
versus television production. So they're still, working at digital studios here in California. But because it's a film and because it's like a dedicated production, I think this is one of the largest um, rebates that has gone out from California in some time. Um,
Interesting.
yeah.
Well, that's exciting though.
And it'll be interesting to see how this works out, right? Because I mean, presumably this is well, not taking the place of season 4, but perhaps some of the storylines that were part of season 4 will inform this film. So yeah, I don't know how they're going to do this. How this all
It's
timeline
just going to
works
be like
out.
a really long episode of The Mandalorian.
I mean, basically, that's what I'm expecting, aren't you? I mean,
Yeah, but
and you know, I'm sure they can make it a little bit more epic, and you know, but I do. I mean, we haven't heard, you know, casting. We don't know if like some of the other existing supporting characters are going to show up. Like, are we going to see, you know, Carson Teva? Are we going to see Ahsoka? Are we going to see Bo-Katan? You know, or is this like a
All the
one-off side
people.
adventure? Right? I mean,
Oh, it's
that's
got to have. Wait, I bet you they bring in Thrawn.
yeah. I mean, that's
Maybe
the
it's
other
a
thing, right?
culmination of
There's
everything.
still
they
the
better
Well,
give us a mythosaur.
I
Yeah.
thought the Dave Filoni movie was going to be the combination of the Thrawn.
yeah,
with
that's still out there
Ahsoka.
too. But
Oh,
I
this
think
isn't
that's
the
a
Dave
further
Filoni
down the-
movie?
This is not the Dave Filoni
They
movie.
not
This
Dave
is,
Filoni.
and I believe this is actually
Yeah,
being
he's still-
helmed by John
Favreau. Favreau.
Yeah, Favreau. Yeah.
Yeah. Watch they troll us and they call it Grogu, Mandalorian Grogu, and it's actually a Book of Boba Fett.
It'll be the mods.
With like really weird
They
time
get-
jumps.
Yes.
they get back, you know.
I like the mods. No one else likes the mods except me. I love the mods. I think they're cool.
The Long John Coruscant.
It's gonna be like they're gonna bring in like Harrison Ford and like make him young again just for the movie.
Right. Speaking of well, okay, not really about Harrison Ford, but in terms of the main Skywalker line films, there has been some rumblings about the, what are they calling it? Well, basically the Rey movie. No one knows what to call it, but like the in theory continuation film that is bringing back Daisy Ridley.
Really? She's up for
apparently-
it after all that?
Oh yeah, they announced this. Yeah,
Mhm.
she's on board.
Yeah.
That was
Y'all,
like the
I have
big,
been working on my front yard.
Yeah.
I am so out of the loop.
That's all I know. That's all I know, Tracy. This is the extent of my knowledge.
So
Okay.
Female
so the
director?
new rumors are that they have cast, or they are casting, or have cast like 3 more co-leads, presumably 2 apprentices of Rey and possibly a villain.
But no pin info. No Finn and Poe.
That
That sounds like
Unsure.
a rap song. Finn and Poe.
Finn and
I don't
Poe.
know why. Like,
I mean, I'm hoping, I think some people have like asked the actor about Finn. I'm
I think
blanking
John
on his
Boyega's
name. John
done though.
Boyega.
He seemed pretty burnt.
He was pretty burned, but I think he has responded that, you know, it depends on the script. So I don't know that he's seen the script yet, or I'm sure they have tried to pitch to them.
If they do bring him back, they just want them to do Finn right. Like,
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, and you know, and they did leave some teasers that, you know, he should be force sensitive and in theory maybe Rey's first student. So, you know, you do a time jump and he's already a Jedi and he can be cool and stuff. I mean,
he'd be a
that might
rad
be
Jedi.
that'd be enough to lure him back. There is also some rumors that that maybe Angela Bassett is in talks with Lucasfilm about something.
Oh.
Unknown if that's for this or for some other project, but I mean that's kind of a big deal.
That would be really cool.
Oh, I can totally see her being either like a really wise Jedi or like a Sith Lord.
I mean,
She could be
also
either.
remember we have like, you know, force switches in play again, right?
Yes.
She can bring some gravitas, but yeah, I don't know. All rumors, all very, very fresh. I mean, it's interesting in that this is a year with not a lot of Star Wars and not a lot of Marvel, right? Like this year, we're just getting this show, Bad
Bad
Batch,
Batch,
which we're going to talk
yeah.
about, and then later this year, have they? They have announced that Skeleton Crew is that releasing this year? Is that confirmed?
Terrible.
Rodney.
Help, Rodney, help. Well, Rodney helps us. Empire Strikes Back is going to be in San Francisco, Montreal, and Toronto. I don't know in which order. Sorry, guys, but so worth it. So
Well,
fun.
that doesn't help Paul. He's on the East Coast.
Looks to be Paul. Sorry, Paul.
I found
come
this.
back around.
So apparently,
He'll come back around.
Mandalorian and Grogu is set to release in 2026. They're saying that will be the next feature film.
And no Mandalorian seasons between it? Or is there going to be a Mandalorian season between it?
I don't know. I mean, that's the thing. They haven't started production on season 4 yet. So I would imagine either they're going to go into production for both at the same time, or one or the other. I mean, that's a good question.
Pedro Pascal has other magical children to save.
I mean, he does. He has, a zombie apocalypse to deal with. He also has to be Mr. Fantastic now.
That's right.
Yeah.
He has to fawn over Nicolas Cage.
Yes. Okay, this is a total non sequitur, but I just realized today that Chris Pratt is voicing Garfield. I'm like, what the fuck? Why is Chris Pratt everybody?
I still haven't seen it.
I mean, there's a trailer out. The Garfield movie is.
Oh, wait. Oh, was it Bill Murray before that?
Bill Murray. Well, okay, so that was the whole thing, right? Because of course it was the voice of, oh geez, what is his name? Lorenzo Music. Lorenzo Music was the original voice of Garfield. Ironically enough, Lorenzo Music was also the voice of Peter Venkman on the real Ghostbusters animated series. And then in a kind of ironic homage, they hired Bill Murray to voice Garfield in the Garfield live action movie that they did a while back. But this is the first recasting of Garfield that I've heard of since Bill Murray. But
okay, so I did some Googling.
Yes. What have you found?
It's been changing quite a bit, so that's why I also I'm not sure of all the dates, right? Because they keep changing things. Partly because of the strike. Well, mainly because of the strike. And also because Disney has changed their focus, right? But it does say, and this could be wrong, but again, this is what I could find. Skeleton Crew is 2024, Acolyte 2024, Bad Batch season 3.
Acolyte is this year too.
So it must be later this year.
Bad Batch season 3, which is obviously here now. Tales of the Jedi. There's another season of Tales of the Jedi in 2024.
Oh, that's it. I feel like that's an easy one for them to put out.
Yeah. Because it's shorts and it's animated. Right, and it's probably only 6 or 7 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the one I know that keeps changing, because I'm really highly anticipating, is Andor season 2. So it's saying 2020,
right,
2025. But then there's also a possibility they could come out this year. But I find that highly unlikely, just because of
I felt like that they had. I felt like that they finished shooting everything, and it's just post though. But they might be just kind of spreading out things, knowing that they have a little less content for a while because they're still catching up after the strikes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't realize Acolyte was coming out this year. Actually, that's a surprise to me. That's a happy surprise because there's been a lot of good buzz about it.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool because it's something outside of the Skywalker timeline, and it's set hundreds of years before all of that. So it'd be really cool to see what they come up with.
I've also read they have gone a little extra with the lightsaber choreography, kind of knowing that this is an era before the Clone Wars, right? So we already know what kind of the heightened, more wushu Hong Kong film inspired fights that we saw during the prequels.
Is this dirty lightsaber fight?
They wanted to go a little bit more heightened as it goes further.
I've seen some sneak trailers, some leaks from Celebration, And there's like one shot where there's like 8 Jedis with all their lightsabers.
Yeah.
So, and then on a personal note, there's going to be a Filipino Jedi because Manny Jacinto is in
Oh
it.
yeah, that's right.
Manny
Yeah,
Jacinto is in it, and he's Filipino, and he's confirmed to be playing a Jedi.
that's right. I
So we're
remember.
not
I
sure if
remember
he's
that
playing
announcement.
A good Jedi or a Sith or what, but he definitely
Right.
is playing a Jedi.
Wait,
So
I
Well-
have to Google Manny Jacinto.
Spelled with a J.
Yeah.
And that's right.
I'm taking Spanish. I know these things.
The
From Good Place.
yeah, random place.
Oh, he's
Yeah.
great. He's the one who is like the monk, but he's actually like
He's not
a bro.
Jason.
Yeah.
well, and then of course, I'm blanking on his name. But of course, the main actor from Squid Games is cast as a Jedi Master and has been like,
That's true.
like
Yeah.
struggling. He loves Star Wars apparently, and really wanted to do it, but he doesn't speak a lick of English. So he's been like working with dialects coaches to just like
Oh.
learn how to say his lines phonetically, even though he has no idea what he's saying.
He's
but he
gonna
just
be like
wants
the
to be in
Bela
Star Wars.
Lugosi of Star
Wholesome.
Wars.
That's wholesome. I love
Yeah.
it.
So
It's gonna. That's,
Daphne
Yeah,
Keane is in it. Lee Jung
That's right,
Jae.
Daphne Keane.
Lee
Daphne
Jung
Keane,
Jae is
who
the
was
Squid Games guy. And then-
Daphne Keane, if you remember, is X-21 from Logan. She was
Logan, yeah.
also in
The
what was
kid?
his
Or
dark
Kenny,
his
yeah.
dark
his Dark Materials,
Yes.
the series on Prime.
HBO, the Golden Compass series.
Yeah.
Lee Jung Jae, who is the Squid Game guy.
Squid Game
Amanda
guy, right?
Stenberg, who's supposedly the main character.
Who is it?
Amanda
Sten-
Stenberg.
Oh,
Um,
from
That's
Hunger
right.
Games.
And
Yeah, that's really it.
she
And
was the
then-
one who showed up
They.
at
I think she's
Celebration.
non-binary. They are the one.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
They showed up at Celebration like in cosplay, like in a Padme cosplay, right?
The Manny Jacinto, Carrie Ann Moss, isn't it?
Oh, ooh.
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah.
We don't see enough of Carrie Ann Moss. This is
Jodie
exciting.
Turner-Smith, Charlie Barnett, and he
Why
was
do I know
in,
that name? Charlie
he was
Burnett.
in Russian Doll.
Oh yeah.
He was in Russian Doll, and
I can't
which
watch
is-
Natasha, what's her name, things because in real life she used to growl at me when she was going through her mental health crisis. She would just hiss and growl at me all the time, and I'm still just like weirded out by it. And I'm so glad that her mental health is so
Yeah.
much better now and she's successful, but I still am like,
the,
I'm
conne-
not
the-
there yet.
the connection is that it's created by Leslie Headland, who
Headland's
also
great.
did Russian Doll. So
Right.
she helmed Russian Doll. So he was in Russian Doll. So I think that's another reason why he was actually really excellent in Russian Doll. I really enjoyed it. Dean Charles Chapman and a few others, but those are kind of like the main. I mean, those are pretty. That's a pretty stacked cast.
Yeah, it's a stacked
You
deck
know.
for sure.
So I think I'm excited for it.
And
And
knowing
what's
that this
which
is
project is that again?
the Acolyte.
Acolyte.
Acolytes, got it.
Yeah.
And then Skeleton Crew is supposed to be like a Goonies type of thing with Jude Law.
Yeah, there's
and
a
then
lot
four-
of speculation that
kids.
they're going for like a holiday season thing, but it's interesting because when like early on, it sounded like they
Holidays
were
in
going
Star
very dark, like Stranger Things with it, but like yeah, the people are wondering if it's going to be like a new official Life Day show.
With a pirate spaceship.
The pirate spaceship. That's right, because the pirates from Mandalorian are supposed to show up. in this.
Really?
Yeah.
So it really
Yeah.
is gonna be like a Goonies in space?
I mean,
That's I feel like I'll probably enjoy that.
it's also a question too of what does Jude Law play? Is he like a dad or is he like chasing small children through space? We
Crazy.
don't know.
We don't know.
Okay, now that I'm so sorry, I'm gonna butcher his name. From Goonies and Loki.
Oh, Ki Kwan.
if they don't have him, now that he's in the Disney universe, if they don't have him guest star on A Goonies in Space, I'm going to be really sad. With like some kind of like pop out claw gadget or something.
I still just want them to focus on the short round follow up thing. That's all I want.
Are they going to do that in Indiana Jones?
No, I don't think so. Just fans keep asking for it. There actually was apparently a pitch for an Indiana Jones animated series. They had got as far as scripts and casting, and it sounded really really good.
Really?
Yeah,
Meh.
but I think they ended up canning it because the movie.
I'm just glad
Did
there's a
not
new
do well.
X-Men continuing the 90s cartoon.
Yeah, there's a lot of other interesting stuff out there. I don't know. Do we want to go off script?
I don't know. We have a half an hour to talk about at least
Yeah.
episodes, maybe 4.
I mean, you know,
a lot of tangents.
just honorable mention for Dune. If you haven't seen Dune 2 yet, see it on the biggest freaking screen possible.
I'm seeing it on Wednesday. I'm seeing it on Wednesday.
Like go all IMAX crazy sound, because you want that worm to be like, I mean, it is gorgeous.
That's
I mean,
easy for you to say. You live near a nice big fancy theater.
Well, wait, you have in like Mira Mesa, don't you?
That's real. That's like an hour away from me.
That's an hour away.
Yes.
Oh.
I thought Encinitas had some nice theaters.
No.
Okay.
We have a nice theater, but it doesn't have big screens.
There.
So maybe on Saturday I can get my brother to go see Dune 2 with me. Michael, you want to go see Dune 2 with me?
Spice must flow. All right, shall we get into the Bad Batch?
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, how do we want to do this? Because we have are we doing 3 episodes or are we doing 4? We hadn't quite decided yet.
I mean, all my notes for all 4 episodes are not even a whole piece of paper.
Okay, so you did get through all 4 then.
I did.
Okay.
I've seen all 4.
Okay.
But let's play it by ear, because
let's play it by ear. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see how
do we
how long we have.
Do we want to talk about all 4 episodes as an arc? Because it very much is an arc. And be freeform with it, or do we want to go like sequentially?
I mean, my brain goes freeform anyway, so.
What the hell, you guys? I didn't touch anything.
Then let's go freeform a little bit.
Because that's what my brain's gonna do anyway.
Yeah.
So I fight it.
Yeah. So very quickly before we go all crazy, of course we have 4 episodes here. The first episode is where we kind of catch up with Omega's life in Mount Tantus in captivity, and her trying to, get together with Crosshair and motivate him to help her escape. Then we get episode 2, which just shows Wrecker and Hunter and what they're doing this whole time, as 5 months apparently go by, as they're still trying to find Omega, and how they are coping. Episode 3 is the big escape. It's Omega and Crosshair escaping from Tantus and all the escapades that they go about, and how some of the things that she was doing early on pay off, and also a big reveal about her and why Nalase cares about her so much. And of course, episode 4 is how they get back to the Batch, as they continue to try and evade the Imperials, and just a little bit more world building of where the universe is at. It's really interesting just over these 3 seasons, as we have had various time jumps, but really seeing how like the Empire has set in into the Empire we all know and hate. Or we love to hate, right?
I think Filoni and company are doing some really top tier retconning here, with Palpatine's. I mean, Palpatine was always super into his cloning. That's been established in multiple properties. but it's a really good fleshing out of that. And of course, Omega was she literally made to be special. Like they kind of gave you that in her name.
I mean, okay, so we're jumping right in, right? So we're getting to the fact that apparently Omega has high M count blood.
What? Explain M count.
More importantly that when they do the like cloning transfer, she doesn't the M count doesn't degrade.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest issue was when they were trying to, clone Palpatine, they couldn't get his midichlorian count to remain consistent.
It has to meet or exceed.
Yeah.
But they don't know that it's Palpatine's midichlorian count necessarily. They just know that it's a sample because as of right now, we don't know that who Palpatine is out to as a Sith Lord.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, at this point, it could it be Grogu's? Like, like his DNA, like he has pretty high M count, and they wanted him for something.
I mean, that's the question, right? Did they transfer midichlorians into her blood, or did they genetically? Because I mean, of course, in theory, like from the beginning, it was that she was an unaltered clone of Boba or of Jango Fett, right? But of course, she's female presenting and she has white hair or blonde hair, right? So
but also remember in Mandalorian, what's his face had his own side cloning gig going on. So if he was trying to recreate, they do reference Project Necromancer in Mandalorian.
Sorry, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about Esposito, Carl what's his
Carlo Esposito.
Yes. Yeah. What's his character's name? With the dark saber?
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Moff Gideon?
Yeah. There we go.
Remember, he had his own side cloning project going on. So if he's trying to do like a parallel copy of what Emperor Palpatine's doing to also maintain his own immortality, he could be looking for something for his own version of Omega. And
well, and of course we did see some of the same markings and symbols on Dr. Pershing's uniform as there have been on the cloning technicians that we're seeing.
Now, what I'm wondering is if Omega is genetically Rey's grandma.
See, I'm curious about that too, right? Is there a little bit of Jango Fett plus a little bit of Palpatine like genetic material in there as well, or is Omega like starting from the Jango Fett template with just the Y chromosome and then adding in like midichlorian?
Well, we know from what was going on in the sequels that Palpatine did have a son, right? That's Rey's father. And if you watch the interview of the guy who played Palpatine and where it talks about the canon and everything,
was he a son or a clone?
What?
Was he a son or a clone?
Pretty sure it was a son.
I think you're right that it was a clone that he raised as a son. But
like,
they do talk about that Palpatine like had sex, like so
yeah,
which is just like he was transferred to a clone is what Johnny is saying in the chat. So I don't know. I think it's going to come around. I think it's going to come around that somehow Omega is Rey's genetic grandma.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Well, I mean, and then of course, in theory too, right? Like we've never actually seen like the big red like shields as they go through the doors into like whatever the project is. We've never seen what's actually in that room. We like are always looking at a close up of like Palpatine's face or the evil dude's face.
Why do they have those go in a series? Why don't they just have them all come down at once? That could have solved all their problems. Just
because it's Star Wars. This is a Star Wars thing. That's how they do it.
that in the fight
There are no
with,
handrails either.
I know in the fight with what's his face? Red. Why am I blanking on names tonight? Red.
Maul.
Maul. They
Yeah.
had it go in a
Yeah.
series. So they kind of have to like continue that, right? Because
It's so that you can go through it like a video game and you have to like time it.
It's like Tron.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, I mean, but that's the other thing too, right? In theory, you know, they also talk about the low M count transfer, you know, successes. Presumably, there are some test tubes of Snoke's as well, right? I mean,
He was like the
Oh,
clone 99 of what
right.
the hell, guys? Anyways, he was like the clone 99 of the Palpatines, right?
Yeah. Or something. Yeah. Or
hold
what
on.
was
Yeah, he was
left.
definitely compensating for something.
I mean, you know, so this is the thing, right? I mean, we know they're going to come back to Mount Tantus. I wonder if they're going to destroy Mount Tantus and basically screw up Project Necromancer, which will then like have to push all of their research out somewhere, you know, into Exegol, or uh, if that'll be a lead to why Snoke is all screwed up and you know all janky looking. Um, but yeah, there it's interesting, and of course wondering how this is going to tie in with Thrawn, and you know knowing that Mount Tantus was a big thing for Thrawn as well. Historically, whether or not they'll bring some of that together again or not, but a lot of interesting things they're doing with lore here. Um, let's hear other things that we want to call out here. You know, I just want to Kevin Kiner, the stuff he was doing with music in episode one, as we kind of see Omega's like day to day, and he has that just very methodical, like synthesizer piano line, that just kind of goes on repeat as she, you know, just to kind of pick up the monotony and the kind of sterileness of the environment. I thought that was
Well,
really,
and watching her age in those 5 months too,
yeah.
because clones have an accelerated growth rate, right? So by the time it's 5 months has passed, she's got longer hair and a ponytail. She's a little bit taller.
Also interesting, seeing her interact with Emery, right? The other female clone
Yeah.
that is like the older Omega, who is
She's like the female tech.
and like much more like obedient to I keep for what is the name of the evil dude?
Hemlock.
Hemlock.
They gave
Yeah,
one of those. They gave him one of those like obvious bad guy is bad names.
Yes.
It's the guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Westworld.
Oh yeah.
Like the Gross brothers, remember? And
Yeah.
it's that guy.
You know, it's also just made me laugh actually is every time you have a scene with Hemlock versus Lana Say, and it's just like it's a whisper off, like, how can I methodically whisper at you cruelly more?
Did you also notice that he also has like a tremor in his hand, right? But it's the opposite hand of Crosshair. And they were both exposed to that weird gas. Remember, like it's on
I did not pick up on
Hemlock,
that.
it's
Didn't
his
notice
left
that.
hand, and on Crosshair, it's his right hand. And they showed both of their hands have tremors in it was so Crosshair, I know we see it when he's in his cell and
Yeah.
Omega's talking to him and they close in on his hand and it's tremoring.
Mhm.
And then of course when he's trying to fire and he's missing and he's like squeezing his hand, he's pissed at himself, right? Because his aim's off. And then with Hemlock, we see it.
I didn't notice it with Hemlock. I only noticed it with Crosshair.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
me
got a
too.
glove on that hand and he kind of like
Oh.
holds it. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, I was already gonna just comment about it's really interesting to kind of see Crosshair kind of struggling with his identity here, right? And how that is like a physical manifestation of that. Of he is the sharpshooter, he has a steady hand, and he's got this tremor that is like undoing his whole, you know, meaning in life because he's so defined by his skill, right?
Mhm.
that, and also just the constant contrast of of Omega versus Crosshair. Crosshair keeps saying, don't waste your time on me, don't waste your time with the dog. I would, leave you behind in a heartbeat.
Which he
Like
wouldn't.
it doesn't make any sense for you to, see, right. And versus, Omega, of course, is very
She's like,
compassion driven.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
Yeah.
What did you think
Yeah.
about they brought back that crime family in the second episode?
Yeah. You mean the Deveronians?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was kind of fun to see more of the Deveronian world, right? Because I don't
Did you
think we've
recognize the mom's voice?
No, who was it?
It was Angelica Houston.
Oh gosh.
Awesome.
I knew I recognized that voice,
That's
so I had to
awesome.
Google
That-
it. Yeah.
That's great. Was she was white too, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, but it was like
I wonder
but,
if that's like a subtle callback to, well, no, that's a little bit
to
preachy.
Morticia.
Well, Morticia, but also wasn't she like the queen, the evil queen in Captain EO? Was that her?
Was she?
Maybe I'm off.
Are you
Hold on.
talking
Okay, I'm
about
gonna look that up.
the Borg
Talk about
queen
something
before there
else.
were Borg queens?
Yes. Okay, I gotta have to look that up now.
To the Googles.
You guys talk. I need to look
Okay.
that up.
Yeah. Anyway, to see the one that her son's horn cut off and like them like execute a guy for cutting off his horn, I thought that was really funny. We see a lot of like sentimental shots. Like at one point we see Hunter look at Tech's goggles, which I don't know how they got those, but they're on the dashboards, and we see lots of I saw at least 2 kind of close-ups on the stuffed animal, the little rabbit stuffed
I
animal.
remember they said that they found, her, the
Like,
doll.
looking all sad, and her like trying to recreate it with straw and all
Yeah,
that
they keep
stuff.
taking it from her. That hurt.
And by the way, yes, Angelica Houston was the evil Borg-ish
Nice.
queen in the also George Lucas produced Captain EO. So I'm gonna call that a reference. But anyways, yeah. Also, I mean, I just love seeing Pikes. Get off. I don't know why.
You love seeing what? Pike get off?
No, the Pikes. Just the Pikes getting their just desserts. I don't know why. I just really like the Pikes as like bad guys.
Is that the guy who cut off the guy's horn?
That's the prisoner that they bring in.
Oh,
to
okay.
barter,
Okay.
right. But the Pikes are the Pike Syndicate, right?
Oh, okay.
From Book of Boba Fett and
Yeah.
I was
Mando has to
for
deal
some
with
reason I
them,
was
I
so
think.
focused on Captain Pike, and I was very
Yeah,
confused.
different Pike.
And we can't forget about the clone cadets.
Yeah, so that was really interesting too, right? We have those the three little baby regs that I
Yeah.
believe were still voiced by Daniel Logan. Yes.
They're voiced by the kid from Deadpool 2.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
No way.
Fun.
I thought they
Yeah,
brought back
like
Daniel
the
Logan.
chubby little Kiwi kid from Deadpool 2, who's like
Yeah,
amazing.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounded good.
Nice. Yeah, that whole like that interaction, them meeting each other, like it had definitely had one of my favorite lines, which was when he's like, oh, weren't they like the defective clones? And Wrecker's like defective and effective.
Yeah.
That was like one of my favorites. I was like, that's what it's like being neurodivergent.
And obsessive compulsive. Defective but effective.
Because he didn't say but effective, he's like defective and effective.
That was Wrecker, right? Who
Yeah,
said
that was Wrecker. That was my favorite line from that episode.
him carrying Gronky like backpack style.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
I love that Gonki actually gets to like serve his purpose. He's just there for power. He's just a big walking battery.
And I'm assuming that they took him. They took them to Pabu, right? They talked about taking him to like an island.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
See,
probably it.
so that's another thing that I was thinking about. Okay, I'm wondering. I've been talking about this the whole show, the whole series. But if they're building towards a clone revolt, right? If it's pulling together all the remaining regs that they can find, and Rex, and uh uh Captain Cody, and all that, and doing a siege on Tantus, right? Because we still gotta, I mean, we don't gotta, but I mean, I was still kind of curious how Gregor ends up with Rex, and Gregor, and the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
We'll
they're
see.
obviously not a
That'd be a
huge
good
part
plot to
of
tie in.
follow-up sequels, so it'll be interesting to.
That would be a good
Yeah.
plot line to see resolved. I'd enjoy that.
Also, I love just realizing that D. Bradley Baker is doing the dog too.
Is he
Patcher.
really?
Yeah, he's voicing Patcher. That's one of
I
his
love that
specialties.
his name is
He does
Batcher,
have
like Bad
yeah.
Batch, Batcher.
I was like, well, of course she named him that. Like,
And she's
I mean, we
like,
knew he was going to be
you
sticking
don't leave
around.
anyone behind.
She,
I think, yeah. So D. Bradley Baker's playing a female Lurka. I love it. I love it.
Okay, I have a question for you guys. So, at one point, when Palpatine is going back to his ship and he's talking to Hemlock and Nala Se, and Hemlock is trying to say, well, if I were the the chief science officer, and all this stuff, and Palpatine says something about how not everybody has our vision. Some people would think that this was an abomination, but the only people who would even know about this project would be within the Empire. I'm assuming high-ranking people within the Empire. So who do we think are the people who think that this project is an abomination?
Or is it the people he's keeping it secret from?
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. I still wonder who knows about Project Necromancer, really, other than maybe that there's a project called that.
Well, we know that
I
there
can't
are
imagine
several
there are a lot.
higher ups, because we know that Moff Gideon was talking to people and they mentioned
Yeah.
Project Necromancer.
Thrawn
Yeah.
might know.
Thrawn.
It'd only be like, yeah, high brass, like the Grand Moffs, so Tarkin, Thrawn,
What's his
Gideon.
name? Pointy nose, balding head. Moff.
Balding head.
Tarkin.
Yeah,
We know Tarkin doesn't like clones.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, and his focus goes towards the Death Star, of course. Eventually.
Yeah. I was just curious because
everyone has their
I
pet
was like,
project,
who
right?
else knows about this? So isn't
because
on
Thrawn's
board?
pet project was the TIE Defender. Tarkin's pet project was the Death Star.
Yeah. It just had me thinking, because it stuck out in my head that who thinks this is an abomination? Because I remember in that group in The Mandalorian, everybody's talking and they all seem pretty lackadaisical about it. So
right. Well, because also, I mean, presumably, okay, those are all Imperial remnant warlords.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, presumably they're all kind of chosen to not get purged in Project Cinder. So, but yeah, I mean, who knows? Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of interesting world building, as they continue to connect the dots with what we know in the future. But
I only have one more note.
According to Rodney, Daniel Logan voiced Mox, the older Reg kid, and then Julian Dennison played the two younger Regs.
The kid from Deadpool 2.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. So so Daniel Logan was there. Cool.
There you go.
Yeah.
So my last note, just because we only have, that was my chair. I did not fart. That was my chair. Anyway, so my last note, because I know we're only like 5 minutes away, it has to do with the very last shot. I feel like we've already gotten to episode 4 here, so whatever. I'm just going with it.
Yeah.
But is that the last, and one of the things, because I'm not a huge fan of the style of the cartoons. Everybody knows this. I've said it many times. But what I do love is the scenery, right? The views that they create with this. And when they're landing on the outskirts of this planet to meet up with Hunter and Wrecker, the view behind, first of all, the view behind the ship with the 2 planets was gorgeous. But I loved how they made it seem like there was not this big gulf between the two ships when Omega ran up to hug Wrecker and then hugged Hunter.
Oh
But
yeah,
when it pulled away, you see the vast amount of space that are between Wrecker and Hunter and Crosshair. And
Crosshair.
it seems like this distance that is not unfathomable. It's obviously, but
Yeah.
it just seems so much further than it was when they were just showing Omega, and how Omega was the only one who was actually moving forward during that last shot. I don't
Yeah.
know. I just thought it was a beautiful
Yeah.
way to end the episode.
Good,
She's
good
always
visual
the one who
storytelling. Good
She's
staging.
always Omega's always the one that bridges the gap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's who she is.
You know,
Uh,
that also reminds me, there was one little moment that I missed the first time I watched, and when I caught it the second time. There's a moment, I can't remember, I want to say it was in episode 3 as they're escaping, and Crosshair, oh, it's he asks, no, it is in episode 4. I think he asks Omega if she knows plan number something
72.
whatever.
Yeah.
And then she says, yeah, tech
Maybe memorize
maybe
them.
memorize all the plans, and he just does a little pause and says, he wouldn't he? And it was like that was such a nice little touch of, you just get to see that little hint of Crosshair Morning tech.
Mhm.
I just realized
Um,
we've seen 4 episodes and we're missing 2 people of the Bad Batch for 4 episodes.
I mean, for me, it was really striking to get to episode 2 and just see Wrecker and Hunter. It's like, oh my gosh, wow, right? That there is no tech, there is no Echo, and without Omega, like, it's just these
Just
two guys.
two dudes.
Yeah, just two dudes.
Two dudes.
Where they talk? Oh wait, Echo's with Rex.
Yeah.
When we don't know where they are right now.
Presumably they're off trying to organize and collect more clones.
Got it.
Fomenting rebellion.
Yes. Pockets of foment.
Throwing the pots.
Also kind of fun callback where well, okay, so this was both callback but a nice kind of reminder to season 1, because we get Omega hustling people in cards.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And now we have it within the context of knowing that she might have some latent force sensitivity. For that matter, it also made me think back to season 1 when she, remember, like, we pointed this out in season 1, where the way she kind of would intuit like how Hunter or how Crosshair felt. Right, like she would say, like, you don't have to be scared about this or whatever, like, she had all these little lines that kind of hinted, and so it was kind of neat to kind of see them do subtle callbacks to, yes, we've been planning this the whole time.
Which I wonder if Batcher is somehow connected to her in some way, because he growls when, I think it's Captain Man, the guy. Yeah. Anyway, which he's voiced by, who I had it written down and I totally forgot, the kid who played Viserys Targaryen, the prince who got the golden crown, melted golden crown in Game of Thrones.
I didn't watch Game of Thrones. I don't take your word for it.
He was like the punk, slightly older brother of Daenerys.
He had a great voice.
Yeah.
I mean, he had this very drawling British accent, which was like,
so that's
so
the guy who
sleazy.
played this Captain Man guy. Anyway, but when he pulled a specific card, Batcher growled, which made me think that he was somehow connected to Omega in some way.
I mean, I could also just see that it being like a K9-ish creature and intuitive and bonded with Omega, but that would to me be more of an indicator of like some kind of light skills like Obi-Wan and Ezra have, where they are, and Ahsoka with their ability to communicate with animals.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I hope we see more Batcher. I hope that he's like the new mascot.
I really
Yeah,
like it.
I mean, yeah,
I really
and
like
you know,
it.
and nothing against
Moochie?
Gonki. You know, Gonki.
Oh,
There's
Donkey.
there's room for both Gonki and Petcher. Um,
Yeah, we only
uh,
saw Gonki once.
They need a little more feminine energy on the ship anyway.
there you go.
Yeah.
Have a girl dog.
He's old gunk. Bring in the new.
It's and you know they've already kind of put the Chekhov's gun out there, right? That you know she's gonna want them to go back and free all the rest of the clones.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean I'm it feels like we're headed towards the Clone Rebellion.
Planet Wayland, here we come.
Yeah.
Isn't that a planet from Alien?
Well, it's the Wayland Corporation.
Oh, that's right.
Alien and also Blade Runner, actually.
Yes.
Too. Yeah. Some sci-fi deep dives
all
there.
Connected.
All
All
connected.
connected.
That's right. Okay, any other favorite moments or things you guys want to call out?
We've got a comment about Ian detests the idea of midichlorians. It was Lucas's way or reinventing Star Wars from fantasy into sci-fi.
Yeah. Well, you know, so this is the other thing I do kind of wonder as we get into this and we get into cloning and transferring midichlorians and Grogu and this stuff. It's like, is this Filoni and company trying to make good on what we had heard and rumored that Lucas wanted to get into next if he had gotten his episode 7 through 9, right? He had talked about wanting to go deeper into how the Force worked and so I'm wondering if he's trying to kind of backdoor.
I just want to know if I can just like snort a line of midichlorians and become a Force user.
Probably have to boof it. Seems like something you gotta boof.
Predictions for the rest of the season.
I mean, it's gonna be a hunt for Omega, right? By Hemlock.
Hunt for Omega by Hemlock.
Them staying one step ahead.
I think they'll get together with other clones and we'll get the Clone Rebellion siege on Mount Tantus.
What if they come together like Lord of the Rings style to like defend Omega?
There you go. Well, I mean, I think Omega will lead the charge, man.
Or like Avenger style.
Yeah, because she'll be the heart. She'll be the one that inspires everyone to go like, for Scotland.
Yeah, she gets the for Frodo moment.
Yes.
I hope she's not Frodo. I hope she's not Frodo. That would be sad. I'd be real sad.
Do we think that she's gonna like have a big Force moment?
The one clone to bring them all and in the darkness bind them.
I don't know.
Is she gonna have a what? A big Force moment?
A big Force moment. Is she gonna get her very own Sabine Wren Force push you off the ledge thing?
I think she's gonna start riding Batcher. He's gonna be the war steed.
Yeah, that would work. I can see that.
That'd be badass.
She already uses the Force to find bucket hats.
Yeah, she'll be like shooting her crossbow.
Homegirl can find a bucket hat like nobody's business.
Do you think we'll see a more direct tie-in with, say, Grogu or Snoke?
Snoke maybe, but I don't think Grogu. Grogu is so far ahead past this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in theory, he,
Order 66. Yeah, he escaped Order 66. But I don't see it.
These are some lost years for him. I don't know.
I think we might see a Snoke in a tube.
Yeah. He might get referenced. They both might get referenced, or a Snoke in a box.
A Snoke in a box.
Schrodinger Snoke.
Snoke in a box. Which, by the way, has anyone bought a sandworm popcorn bucket? No, I'm sorry.
I saw
Were
that like
messy?
somebody covered up his face, which I don't know why they bothered because he wore the shirt out in public, so he obviously didn't care if anybody saw him wearing it. But there's like a picture of an unknown man at the Dune premiere with the popcorn bucket, and his shirt says, "I'm just here to fuck the popcorn bucket."
I'm not spending that kind of money on that thing.
Lord.
I'm sorry. I'm
No, I
not a
don't-
popcorn bucket person though.
I
I
don't
just
have
don't care
space.
about them.
I don't have space for any of that. I don't have space for any of
Yeah, I do.
I have a popcorn bucket somewhere, but it's only because I was at the Force Awakens world premiere and they gave it to me for free.
that. I think
Okay.
I had that.
Here's a big question. What do you guys think about my theory that we're totally going to Winter Soldier out with tech?
I think that's a viable. I
Yeah,
think
don't
that's a
he's
viable theory
fully gone. I don't think he's fully gone.
We've
because
only
if
seen
they,
goggles. He has goggles. Where's the rest of him?
yeah, I mean, and it would also be a really heavy hitting moment with like Crosshair like back on the team again. However, they
Yeah.
reintegrate him. Obviously, they're gonna have something to do with that most of next episode, I'm sure, where it's like harder for the guys to forgive him than but well, you did come all this way, and so yeah, they're gonna obviously have to get over
Yeah.
that hill, and then
Or yeah, if you have Crosshair have his redemption moment in some way, like
Guys, what if he comes out of a swirly thing at the end to save Omega like they did in Avengers Infinity War or Endgame? Anyways, they don't have much time to make it happen if they do because it's the last season.
how many episodes?
how many episodes
getting?
again? Is it like 11 or 12?
I don't know. Let me
To the Googles.
to the Google.
I still wonder, so I was all high on this when we found out that Emery is being
Oh.
voiced by Keisha Castle Hughes.
Whale Rider.
Yeah, from Whale Rider.
Also Game
And
of Thrones.
so I'm still like wondering if they are setting up for older Omega to show up in like Mandalorian era stuff too.
I was wondering that too. I have a feeling that that's going to be the case. I
Yeah.
think that would be really cool.
Played by
I
Keisha
think it'd be
Castle
really-
Hughes.
15 episodes, you guys. 15 until May
15,
3rd.
okay.
Yeah. I think also too, I think obviously they're using, and we've talked about this before, but they're obviously using, Mandalorian and Bad Batch to kind of connect why Palpatine returns. Right.
Somehow.
Somehow. Palpatine
That's
Modern
amazing.
comic book storylines, you have to watch everything and read
Yeah,
everything to get it all,
exactly.
the whole picture. Yeah.
So that holistically, when, generations down the line, when people watch it from beginning to end, it's all going to connect, whereas now it's super, super disjointed. But, so far it doesn't feel too ham-fisted, but it definitely makes a really good narrative. So it is a question. So but I do think it's also, I think Grogu and Omega are going to be related in some way, because they're obviously doing the same types of
Yep.
Grogu and
experiments.
Omega?
I think so. They're going to be like
From like the same lab, basically.
yeah, like same lab or
Their storylines their storylines have to have some crossover, even if they don't
I think they're
come into
gonna-
each other's presence. They're
Do we
Are you
get some more Ahmed Best?
Are you suggesting
be the
that Grogu
best.
is a clone then?
I've also
See,
What if he's
that's a
Yoda clone?
possibility.
That's
if
a
he's
question,
Yoda
right?
clone?
That's a possibility. Yeah, like
was
he a clone of
Grogu
Yoda?
a clone of Yoda? That's a good question.
Yeah, and
So they were
somehow
just trying to raise midichlorians out.
and somehow they they got a hold of, I don't know, I think that is a possibility. That
We'll find out in a
wait,
video
no,
game
no.
if they don't lay
Hold
off all
on.
the staff.
Well, okay, but here's the thing, though. Okay, so we know that Grogu trained at the temple and was rescued from the temple, so he couldn't have been made by the Empire. But they did want his blood because of its high M count.
Yeah. So in order for that to also work, and it is a little bit of a stretch, it could be
Yeah.
that the Grogu that we know is actually a clone of that baby.
Oh, interesting. Which
Right?
would
I'm sure
explain
we'll find out.
why he has a memory gap,
Yeah.
right?
Like
Or
he's
he's just
remembering some things, but not everything. Right?
in suspended animation or something like that.
Mhm.
They
Yeah.
should
I mean,
they should rename the movie Three Mandos and a Little Grogu.
either way, that they're being pursued for the sake of the same basic cloning project or different facets
Yeah.
of it. So there's an overlap for sure. It's just where and how and how much of it they're going to show us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're
All
10
very
minutes over.
interesting. Yeah.
Do we have Geek Beast after this?
How they
I believe Geek Beast will be joining us. Are right? Um
Oh, they're
yeah,
ready.
they're ready.
Yeah.
The yeah. Well then I think that wraps up this. We've been talking here. So shall we?
We shall we let?
We shall.
Hey,
Everyone, how y'all
gentlemen.
doing? Long time no see.
Yeah, how you guys
It's been a
doing?
while. We're doing well. How you
Good. How's
doing?
everybody doing?
Doing all right. What are you guys talking about today?
The
Uh,
Anime Awards,
Oh
uh,
shoot,
Dune MMO. Maybe,
MMO.
yeah, Dune is dropping the MMO.
What?
Yeah, yes,
Interesting.
yes.
Well, wait, is it like multi-planet Dune or is it just on Arrakis?
It's starting off with Arrakis, but a rumor is it's supposed to go multi-planet.
Interesting.
Dang.
That's gonna be very
What-
interesting.
What about the
Yeah.
EA layoffs? Are you guys gonna talk about that?
Oh, we can talk about there's a lot of layoffs going on right now. EA, Universal Music Group, they are on fire. We talked
So
about it before.
okay, so do you have perspective on why so many studios seem to be affected all at the same time?
Hey, you
Is
guys
it
would know way better than we would.
Because Wall Street needs to eat at all times. And the best thing they can do is shorten up the workload.
Jesus? So this is all about quarterly reports.
Quarterly reports. I mean,
Fuck, man.
So
a lot
awful.
of studios did bloat
Ugh.
up. They did bloat during
Yeah.
COVID and thought they're gonna have that gold rush of everybody in the home just playing whatever they're doing. And
Yeah.
then they're realizing people are going back to work and don't want to spend money anymore. So they're trimming around everywhere.
Dang.
I've had a number like PlayStation has gone through layoffs. They let go
Yeah.
900 people on top of it, but EA's laying off and
You know, they could theoretically replace CEOs with AIs because it's supposed to just do like analytical decision and like you cut
Well,
out like
yeah.
that would
salary.
be the best use of
Wouldn't that be
AI.
the best use of AI?
That would be
Well,
the best use of
im-
AI.
For a lot of these companies, by the time they pay out a severance and they end up hiring some people back, doesn't it end up costing them more money in the long run than it would if they just maintained their employees?
Well,
they'll
but
hire
also
they'll hire people back. They'll hire just as workload back. Just right now, they just have to look good for the next couple of
Yeah,
quarters.
but they still have to pay severance.
Yeah, yeah. They've
well,
already,
no,
they already
not
factored
not
that in
all of
there.
them, because a lot of them are independent contractors, so they aren't
Mhm.
technically employees. So
Yeah,
there is no severance.
yeah.
and
it.
you are picking up for the first quarter. So like
Yeah.
fourth quarter, then you want to make sure the first quarter looks good. So
Yeah.
traditionally all corporations go through like their layoffs at first quarter to make up for fourth quarter numbers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
Because bonuses are tied to all of those
Yeah.
things and stuff like that.
so you want to say you're making the right decisions first quarter, then you hire everybody back and
Right.
say, "Oh my God, we got to shorten the company again." It's just a game. It's just a
Yeah.
game. We have all these people now. We're gonna let them all go again. We're gonna give us our bonuses, and we'll pay you Wall Street too. Then we'll hire them all back up again, and then we'll let them all go again at the end of the year.
Well, and then the other like really sick shit about these kind of tactics too is that doing layoffs like this suddenly make people desperate, and then they'll
Mhm.
accept lower wages, right?
Mhm.
So that way you can keep wages down by
Or
having
hire more expensive, more experienced people, and then when you rehire, you hire more junior,
them.
less expensive people.
well, that or you hire them back at either the same or less, because ultimately, if they're starved out, they're desperate again.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So the
Hopefully-
Mando first-person shooter got canned. Would you have played it?
Oh, absolutely. EA canceled it. I don't know why. And it's made by one of my favorite game developers, game directors, and it's Amy Hennig. I think Amy's amazing at the work she does. She takes a long time to do it right, but she gets it done. She gave us Uncharted.
You know, it's funny too with all of this, because like this announcement after Disney just had their first quarter report, and they kind of doubled down on basically rebuilding like their commitments to the gaming sector,
Yeah,
right?
that's very interesting.
Right, because they started an official partnership with Epic Games, where they're investing a crap ton of money into them to bring like all the Disney characters into Fortnite, and you know,
All the I just had a vision of Disney princesses in Fortnite.
They are
And it-
going to be there.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to be there. They're going to
Yeah.
be there. We
Are they
don't know
gonna
if
be
they're
like
going to be able to.
tearing the hems off their dresses and like picking up like
I
what's
don't know if I don't know if they're going to be shooting guns or not, but they're going to be there. It would be
It's
awesome.
gonna be
if
like
they're
Grand
shooting
Theft
guns.
Auto where you walk in a room and she's like banging somebody, right?
Cinderella comes in, pulls off her glass slipper, smashes it,
Ah,
stabs you,
yeah,
shakes you.
she uses it. She uses her glass slipper to break trees. Takes it off and just bangs on trees.
Or it's a gun. It's some type of firearm. The slipper can be some sort of firearm.
Yeah, yeah. Pocahontas comes shooting guns. Who doesn't want Pocahontas shooting guns?
Well, she has the axe, right? I mean, I
Yeah,
don't want to
she's
be
the axe.
stereotypical.
Bow
It's
and
the axe,
arrow,
and it's
you know.
throwing.
Yeah.
Like a bow and arrow or something.
Yeah,
she's got,
right.
she's got her
right.
little hummingbirds. The hummingbirds are coming out like darts, you know.
Yeah. Who doesn't
Attack
want to
raccoon.
see?
Terrifying, actually.
Who doesn't want to see Vanellope, Wreck-It Ralph versus Pocahontas and Incredible Hulk?
There you go.
Who doesn't wanna see that? We all want to see that.
Darth Maul comes out of nowhere.
Darth Maul
Yeah.
comes. Yeah, Darth Maul, Spider-Man comes out. We all want to see that. So, but Disney's also paying them to create something else in
Yeah.
Fortnite.
We
Well,
do
I
want to
think
see
it's
that.
just
That's why so many people loved Ready Player One.
Well, and then aren't they doing? Aren't they committing to a revamp of the Epic Mickey games too?
Yes, they are. They are
Yeah.
relaunching. They're doing
Which
the
was a great
remaster.
game.
It does
Yeah,
look great.
remastered,
It looks really, really good.
Like,
That's
do we have
rare.
do we have any Steamboat Willie Mickey like horror movies coming out yet? I know that they made a Winnie the Pooh.
Oh my
like,
God,
there's
that
a
would
I
be
saw one.
There's a
amazing.
sequel to the Winnie the Pooh
Yeah.
horror movie actually coming out.
There's a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought I saw something with Mickey, right? That it was like a horror slant.
They did.
Coulda
You
sworn-
did see one. They had the mouse horror. Yeah, they do have one.
Yeah.
But I want to see the Steamboat Willie slave movie.
Oh my God.
They bring Brer Rabbit. It's like 12 years of
Steamboat
slave
what?
with Steamboat Mickey. With Steamboat Mickey. Yes. We're going to see it. It's going to be Brer Rabbit. It's going to be the song of the
Steamboat
South.
Nookie?
Mickey.
Oh,
It's gonna be Steamboat Mickey meets the Song of the South
Song of
into
the
a
South,
movie,
right.
and we're gonna see it. Somebody's gonna do it.
Oh my
They
God.
call it 12 years of Disney character. I don't know.
bippity-doo-dah.
That's
We're
awesome.
gonna see it. Somebody's gonna make it. Matter of fact, we should probably make it because people will pay to see
Get on that right now.
People will pay to see that.
All right, internet, do your thing.
Yes. We'll make it all in Sora. We don't have to pay anybody. We can make it all in Sora.
You know, it's still so interesting to me that all of this is happening, you know, because after they completely dismantled what was the interactive MMORPG that they had for a while with the little figurines? Do you remember those?
Oh,
had a
yes.
figurine-
Disney Infinity.
Disney Infinity, and that
Mhm.
seemed to be so popular, and they're just like, psh, that's gone. Like, you know. No, because Arts Games, which was a pioneer in so many genres of gaming, and they're like, psh, that's gone, right? And now they're like going, oh, well, maybe we'll invest in this again.
Yeah, that's part of the cycle. The
Yeah.
cycle. It's the cycle of a lot of technology companies, things made here and things not made here. They're like, oh, let's use Trello, let's use Slack, let's use this. Then they'll come around like, we should make all this ourselves. Now you got Microsoft Teams.
Well, okay. I mean, knowing Iger though, will he eventually get to the point where he just buys Epic Games?
If they had the money to buy Epic Games is crushing it right now.
Yeah.
Epic Games gives away $1 billion in 5 years. That's a
But I
lot.
mean, that's how they keep themselves from getting bought by Apple, right? I mean,
Yeah. If anybody's gonna make a play for Epic Games, I think it'd be Apple. I'm
Mm.
surprised Apple hasn't made a play for Disney yet.
oh,
They
I,
don't
I mean,
need them, but
I'm
surprised they
saying
haven't
that's
done
how Disney keeps itself from getting bought
it.
by
Yeah.
Apple, right?
Make a play for Epic Games. Yeah, that's how they do it. That they would have to.
Because and then they both keeps them both safe, particularly
You know?
with the whole proxy war right now, right? I mean,
Yep.
it's
Yeah, I remember when we were growing in high school and middle school, and they told us the monopolies were bad. Why are we
Mom fell.
embracing this? Like, we are embracing all these monopolies all over again. It's like, what?
yeah. Well, yeah.
I wished all the streaming services would have won and had a race to the bottom and dropped my prices to $3.99 for each service. I wish they would have done that. Instead, I'm going to watch Netflix swallow them all up.
Well, I mean, and little by little, right, as they are discovering that the whole revenue plan doesn't quite work, then it's like they're all going to turn back into paper cable, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get DVDs in the mail again.
I don't.
What's old is
That
new
would be
again.
hilarious.
That's going to be the gold rush
Wait,
for
will we
Blu-ray.
come back to Blockbuster?
Well, actually, I will say I was really surprised over the last few months, and Disney released DVD sets for Mandalorian, for WandaVision, for all these Disney Plus series, because they're just trying to get back some revenue streams.
So many of my friends like to have a physical copy because you never know when it's gonna go away.
I'm one of those. I do not trust them. Do not re-edit. I want my original version.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the favorites that I want access to. Like,
Yeah,
I think that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a gold rush for Blu-ray soon because Best Buy is not selling them, and Amazon's the only place you can get them, kinda. And I was like, man, I'm glad I got a Blu-ray player. I got a couple of them over here.
I still have a VCR. It's 3 feet to the left of me.
Does it work? Does it work?
Yeah.
Oh man, you're saying like $600.
Yeah, right.
It's like
VCRs are
right
really
now.
expensive.
They're really expensive.
They don't make the parts for them anymore.
They don't make the parts for them anymore.
So in order to get one, you have to pay like really high price, right? Because they don't make them anymore.
Y'all,
so you could.
And I didn't even know it.
Yeah, you got a rich thing over there. It works.
VCR.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then I won't be able to play my home movies.
Exactly.
I think my parents' house still has one.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if my parents have them too. Randy had a good VCR when he was in college. It's down in the basement at my mom's house.
Might still be there. Yeah,
it's still down there. They haven't thrown away anything because I looked at it. Like,
right now, it's a Panasonic.
That's a good one. Good one. That's legit.
Like cassette players are really expensive right now.
I probably paid $30 for it.
And it's worth like $500.
Yeah. Because they can't find the parts anymore.
Only 5 years ago, you could go to like Rite Aid and like pick up a cheap personal.
But all those people don't work on them anymore, right?
Yeah.
They, there's a brain trust. There's a brain trust out there now to prepare them and everything. So yeah, they're selling really high.
God, can you imagine like the next generation of hipsters who are like working on like restoring VHS machines and stuff?
I used to not be able to watch TV in here unless I had it hooked up through my VCR.
I forgot. There was a company that released a cassette Walkman. And it was like $150 on Kickstarter.
Oh my
I
god.
almost bought it. I almost bought it. I was kind of curious.
Was
Like,
this a result of Guardians of the Galaxy? Like
it
kind of
was. It
Yeah.
was. It came back in
Okay.
vogue. So Urban Outfitters sells a lot of
I
cassette
still have
tapes.
mine too.
You know what I wish caught on better were the mini discs. You know the little ones.
Oh
I
yeah.
have a mini disc
Oh,
player in
Those,
the
yeah.
those
closet
things
over
were kick
here.
ass.
They
Those were
are
awesome,
kick
and
ass.
they you could re-record them too. So, but they were like they had like high capacity. Those things were awesome.
Mm-hmm. I had a mini disc.
Those get more
I had a
popular.
Sony player that had 5 mini disc changer and it broke on me probably like 6 years
Aw.
ago. I was heartbroken.
Oh, that's really sad.
Yeah, I was heartbroken. I was like, oh my God, I got mini disc in this thing. I can't pull out. But I have a whole collection of mini disc. I have all my CDs. I have everything still. Like, I'm not gonna let this
Wait,
go.
the boxy CRT TVs are back. They're on eBay as retro gaming TVs.
Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh. Ah,
And they're
There's
rarely as
FPGA nerds working on a VCR to do onboard high-grade video filtering for HDMI output and or cleaned up analog output.
yeah, yeah. Because people
well,
are scared. Amazon once gave away, they were selling digital movies, right? They were selling, instead of you buy the DVD plus the digital movie, paying an extra $5 or $10. Amazon, the company that holds up the internet, is pulling stuff off their servers.
you know.
So
And
people are
there's
losing their
nothing you can do about
movies.
it. Yep.
What they're doing, they're either refunding people or they're giving them hard copies
Wow.
of the films. So they're
Really?
like,
Oh,
hey,
that's
here's a
interesting.
Blu-ray.
And that way they don't have to pay the royalty.
I have to pay the royalty.
Wow,
Here's a Blu-ray.
that's crazy.
Here's the Blu-ray.
Wow.
How many
Well,
billions of
for
dollars have they got?
more topics like that, stick around for Geek Me Circuit, about to start off their show. And yeah, thanks for joining us here on the Geekish Network for Pod Squadron. We are going to be back in 2 weeks. We're going to skip a week and we'll come back and talk about episodes 5 and 6 of the Bad Batch. And check all the schedules for all the other great shows here on the Geekish Network. Thanks to Flight Deck, to Rodney on the flight deck. And of course, we are the Pod Squadron. Please check out all of our content on podsquadron.com. Like and subscribe. Follow us on X, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. For podcast subscriptions, you can subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or your favorite podcast app. I'm the Chinese Pirate at Chinese Pirate _ on all platforms.
I'm Tracy, hot nerd girl on all the things, and thank you very much. It's been fun to be back.
Lexi, Feral Geek. Actually, I should change that on the graphics because the Feral Geek was not originally available when I made it, but it matched everything else like my website. And then and somebody had it
Branding.
and they deleted
Branding.
it. So I got to change my handle from Feral Geek Aesthetic to Feral Geek to match everything. So now I'm Feral.
Woo!
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, I reclaimed it.
All right, and all wings return to base. Course laid in, prepare to make the jump to light speed on my mark. And remember, the truths we cling to depend on your own point of view. Only the Sith deal in absolutes. Good night.
Bye. My boo
Everybody.
bitches.
Okay, so